Welcome to the Steve Setka Show, your uncensored champion. I'm your host, Steve Setka, and I'm diving deep into the things that matter most to me: sport, freight, and faith. On this show, we're not afraid to go beyond the surface. We get real, share bold opinions, and hit you where it may be uncomfortable. These are the topics I'm passionate about, and I bet they'll spark something in you too. So buckle up for quick, high-impact episodes that'll shake you up. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Steve Setka Show. We are rolling. We're on episode 42. We've been doing this the entire year. We're almost at the end of the year, and we are just blessed and grateful to have a wonderful guest here today. As per usual, we frame every episode with a verse from the Bible. This one is so fitting for our guest today. It is from Psalm 118:24. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Ruttan, welcome to the show.
Hey, Steve. So glad I'm here. Man, I was so honored that you reached out and invited me on. So thank you.
Man, it's, I find guests of impact and people that have done things that I aspire to do in the world and that I've been connected to. We've had some connection in the freight world in your previous career prior to building the business that you're building right now, which is fantastic. We were connected through a mentor of mine, Larry Dick, owner of a trucking company. You used to do some work in the industry, and you've transitioned a little right now. But I want to hit on something really quick here.
Yeah, for sure.
Sets the tone with this verse here today. Today's Saturday, so we got 5 days in the week, Monday to Friday. And then we have Saturday. I consider Saturday a pretty intense work day because I actually take Sunday as my Sabbath day, my day of rest. And I've really been incorporating that into my life over the past couple months with a newborn, with a child, with a beautiful family that we're building. So I go absolutely crazy on Saturday, and then I do the Sabbath on Sunday with church and family activities. What do you think about the whole idea of 6 and 1, the 1 day of rest?
Well, the funny thing is, because the businesses that I work with coaching, training, and developing and consulting, they're operating Monday to Friday. So I'm busy doing that stuff Monday to Friday. Saturday is my home office day. And I'm usually, I can't sleep in anymore, Steve. I'm not sure what happened, but many, many years ago, I started waking up early, and now I'm up early, even on the weekends. But Saturday is my home office day. I'm up with my cup of coffee, usually around 7 a.m. in my office, sit down at my computer. I'm organizing, I'm planning, I'm strategizing, I'm creating content. I'm planning my week. This morning, I'm here with you this morning, and I have a coaching call with a client this afternoon. And then Sunday is my day. We're up, we're to church as a family. And then it's spouse time for me. It's me and Marge.
I love how you say that, man, because I talk to people about this all the time, and the world will tell you one thing, but the eternal life will tell you something that's a little bit more truthful, in my opinion. Is people will say, oh, you have a kid now. Well, you need to prioritize that kid. That kid is everything. You know what's more important than the child is your marriage, because your marriage and the foundation for your marriage really sets the tone for how you build your family, and the kid will thrive if you have a very strong marriage.
100%. And if I may, I know you said no rambling at the beginning, but if I may, because it's a relevant story, Steve. I'm 57 now, so I'm a little older. My kids are 27 and 25 years old. One's married, one still lives here with us, and he's a great kid, and he can stay here forever, as far as I'm concerned. As long as he's got a job, he can stay here. But here's the thing: when I was younger, and for any younger parents out there like yourself, I did sacrifice my family too much for my career. And so even though we're called to lead, we're called to provide, right? We also have to find that balance. And so when I missed far too much of my children growing up because I was focused on my career as a general manager for a big box retail store way back early 2000s when my kids were young. And I have a lot of regret around that. I have a great relationship with my children today. Fantastic relationship. I love them. They love me. We're planning a trip together, just the boys, next September to Japan. But I missed a lot. So, a word of caution to, yes, we need to go, we need to grind, but we need to focus on our spouse and our children, especially for those important moments, the hockey games, the soccer games, the school plays, stuff like that, stuff that I missed and I regret.
That's awesome. I love how you said that, because people warn me about that all the time. It's very simple and easy as a younger man. Like you said, myself, I'm 34 years old and I'm in the prime of my career right now, building business, growing. And it's very easy to get caught up in that. It's very easy to get caught up, and sometimes I do, but that's why I've made this habit very intentional on Sunday for the entire day.
100%.
So no phone, unplugged, completely unchecked from the world. People cannot reach out. Now, I work in trucking. Remember that. People know
Yeah.
that show.
Yeah.
And that's very difficult to do because I have loads of moving over the weekend. The weather gets bad. I want to check it. It creates a better life for me, and it's caused by, or not caused by, but I utilize discipline in order to do that, and that's an important component. So, hey, we're getting into business here in the show. We
Yeah.
want to hit some really, really hard punch. We want to get really strong. You talked a little bit about your coaching, your transition, your big box retail, and now you're working in coaching and development. I don't fully know about your business and your brand now. I know a little bit about it, but educate us and give us the cold, hard notes on what you do and how you impact the world.
Just a really quick elevator pitch, so to speak. I help small to medium sized business owners improve their culture and their company and their profits. So I have sort of three arms of my business. I do a lot of training with businesses. I do a lot of coaching and consulting based around culture and then helping the leadership team develop themselves so they can create better culture within their organization, reduce turnover, reduce presenteeism, which is employees showing up and not being fully present and doing their
First day.
best. That silent quitting type thing we hear so much about. So I help with company culture. And then I also do what's called a profit assessment. So we do profit assessments on businesses to help them find the quick wins to generate some extra bottom line profit in their business, and then also put a 12 to 18-month plan in for them to help grow other areas of their business.
So it's very strategic.
Profit people and that coaching and development consulting type thing. That's
That's
where I
incredible.
that's
Let's
where I
dive
lead.
in a little bit more because a couple of those things are common that I've heard regularly. But there's one word that you said that I have not heard much about. You said presenteeism.
Presenteeism. Yeah, presenteeism. It's sort of described as people show up, but they aren't really productive.
Right, right.
They're doing the minimum requirement to not get fired.
And that happens in life. I mean, people do this all the time. I find as a business owner, we operate a little bit differently than an employee would for sure, because when you're invested in the company and you own the company, you understand that there's profit that needs to be made. There's payroll that needs to be made. There's productivity and results that need to be achieved in order to continue to move forward. So the minimum
100%.
work to not get fired is something that I think about, regularly. We've all gotten caught up in that before. I believe we've all been employees. You're like, oh, I'm not feeling it today. I'm just going to do the bare minimum so I don't get noticed as not doing enough. But tell me a little bit more about that idea, because I hear all the time from my wife specifically, who tells me, hey, Steve, you're the father, right? And you have this son, and that's in the world now with us, and you don't have as much time with them, but the time you have to be very present, very active. So in relation
All
to
the time.
family and your faith and your business, how are we lacking in being present with our purpose, and how do we get better?
Man, well, you already said it. One of the biggest things is this, right? When I was younger, right, there was the only way to get a hold of me was to phone my house, and the phone was attached to the wall,
Yeah.
right? I'm dating myself for any younger generations. They're like, "What are you talking about?" But that was it. Now we're connected 24/7. So you being intentional about setting aside the phone, turning off the notifications on those Sundays to be intentionally present with your family, that's key. The quality of time is more important than the quantity of the time. And I'm sure you've all heard this before, but making sure we're fully present. And I'll remember back to much earlier, which drastically changed. My youngest son was probably about 10 years old. So we're talking 15 years ago. And he was talking to me and telling me something. And I didn't hear a word he said. And he tapped me on the arm and said, "Dad, you're not listening." And I was on my phone, Steve. And immediately I felt the conviction of the Holy Spirit. It like, you're
Yes.
ignoring this precious gift I've given you,
Hmm.
right? In your son. And I was like, "Oh I'm so sorry, buddy." And I turned over my phone and I paid full attention to him. Now, have I been perfect at that over the years of putting down my phone? No, but now my intentionality is to turn over the phone or to put the computer on screensaver mode, to silence notifications when I'm having a conversation with somebody so I don't get distracted, because my personality style,
Yeah.
I'm very easily distracted. I suffer from shiny object syndrome.
Yeah.
And I got pulled in every direction of possibility. As an IS personality style, I'm very shiny object syndrome. I'm very much all over the map. So I need to intentionally focus that time when I'm spending time with someone, whether
Hmm.
it be a friend or a family member or my wife. I want to be focused.
just like we're doing right now. And I find there's an interesting, I guess you could call it juxtaposition that we go through right now with technology, right? Because generally speaking, technology, yes, it's supposed to make our life simpler and easier and become more productive, but it also creates this serious level of distraction in our life. And I'm 34 and old enough to know that I lived in an era too where there were no phones. Back in the 90s, when I grew up in the 2000s, there were no phones, there was less video games, less technology, and there was more social engagement, more
Yes.
community engagement, which was fun and fantastic. And we don't need to get into that. Everybody knows that that's the truth. Children these days, even adults, we have thousands and thousands of options. So we don't find the beauty in the simple and the ordinary, like going out in
Right.
your backyard and just digging up the backyard, figuring out how to have some fun, right? Because you have fun at your fingertips, it seems like all the time. But the more difficult part of life is to be disciplined not to take these easy options and go find those creative options in order to fulfill, your psyche with what you
Yeah.
need, which is human connection, which is, beauty in nature and whatnot with the people. It's interesting you say that because I did a chat GPT this morning with biblical verse in relation to podcasting, which we framed the show with. And the second one it came up with was Proverbs 16:3. Commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established. Your plans, if you put specific, unique, and intentional purpose in place in your life, which kind of relates to technology, right?
Yes.
And how you utilize technology and how you utilize this tool that's supposed to help us that can be a serious distraction. So you and I were talking about AI, and I'm using it right now, and you use it regularly every day. So how would you teach specifically, because I assume you do, people to be specific and productive and intentional with technology without allowing it to consume them?
That's a great question. And I don't spend a lot of time on that, but I do spend a lot of time on teaching on intentionality and persistency and consistency and so things like that. So I think when it comes down to if we're going to make that conscious decision to set aside the distraction so we can focus on what's important, then do it. And then reward yourself with some distraction time once you've done some focused work. And I think there's the Pomodoro method. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It
I
created a
do.
guy.
I
Yeah.
do.
So like the Pomodoro method, which was created by a guy who used a tomato timer, hence Pomodoro, Italian for tomato. 20 minutes of intense focused work, 10 minutes reward yourself, right? So for myself, again, because of my personality type, I very much need to know what's going on.
Hmm.
So when I am in my Saturday office time, I'm focused work, reward with get up, look around, grab my phone, scroll through some TikTok videos, find something inspiring to watch, back to my focused work. And so if you can do that and structure your day like that, you're going to be more productive. Because let me ask you this question, folks. How many of you have picked up your phone, started scrolling, and then looked at your watch and go, oh my goodness, I've been at this for a half an hour and you didn't even realize the time flew by like that? And how much more productive could you have been if you'd been doing some focused work at that time? Now, I'm not saying we have to be focused work 24/7, but when the time to work comes, the time to work to come. And so just a quick stat back to productivity and all this stuff. It's estimated that disengaged employees cost companies 18% of their annual salary. That's a direct bottom line hit because they're disengaged, they're not being productive. 18% of their salary.
And there's probably a reason for that because they're not maybe enjoying that they're doing. They're not engaged. They don't feel like they're part of a team. They don't have purpose. Those are all things that are addressable within the
Yeah.
company culture that you would deal with. But there could also be some negative things as well there too, that they just don't want to be there, that they're not the right fit. So you have to assess that and I'm sure diagnose and, provide a prognosis for what the issue might be, which is very interesting. So you're hitting on some really fascinating things. Couple really funny things that I want to mention because
Yes.
I like to relate what guests say on the show to what happens in my life. I have a piece of paper that sits on my desk right here about time management, and it has the Pomodoro method on it. Which one?
Yep.
Of it?
The
Eisenhower.
priority matrix and
Yep. Eat
yeah.
the Frog, which is on there as
Yeah.
well. Pomodoro, Deep Work, and 135, and a bunch of different strategies in order to be proven techniques to increase your productivity. So I'll send you a photo of that after, and
Yeah,
maybe
please.
you can pull that up and
Can I can
utilize
I
that.
add something to that, Steve,
Please,
real quick?
please.
And I can't take credit for this. I have to give John Maxwell credit where credit is due. And he said this. He goes, time management, you can't do it. You
You
can't
can.
manage time, but you can priority manage.
Yes.
So priority management is the key. What are the priorities? What are those big rocks I need to work on today to get done? What do I have to get done to
Mhm.
move my business forward, to move me closer towards my goals, to be more intentional with my family, to focus on my spiritual walk? What do I need to do today? What's the priority?
That is so true, and it's crazy because I think of this every day, and I'm like, man, eat that frog. The most difficult things, do them first, right? But we have this human innate nature to do the easy things. I'm like, oh, I got to do this. That'll
100%.
take a couple of minutes. That'll take a couple minutes, and then after 2 hours, you're like, oh, I've only done the easy tasks and the simple things to knock off the list. Yeah, sure, knocking off a couple simple things in order to get the ball rolling and the day going definitely works, but I find myself procrastinating because I don't priority manage with things that matter and that are important. For example, learning how to use AI, learning how to use Perplexity, ChatGPT at an advanced level to prompt, which is kind of crazy. You do the same thing or what?
Absolutely. And one funny thing that you said there is I've lost my train of thought, Steve.
Eat the frog?
You can edit this part out.
Yeah, of course. Hey, I'll do that for us.
You said, what did you procrastinate? Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah, Steve, you mentioned procrastination just a second ago. And I always joke around with people. I was like, yeah, we're going to start a Procrastinators Anonymous Club
yeah,
tomorrow. Tomorrow.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I suffer from the same disease, that procrastination disease. And you're right. It is easy to do the easy things. But then you're trying to tackle the larger tasks once you've already expended energy. And I think you need to discover your circadian rhythm. When are my ups and downs through the day? When do I have more energy? When do I have less energy? And we actually teach, and many others have taught this, but do those difficult tasks on the upswing when you have more energy. You can respond to emails and voicemails on the low energy, on the downswing part of
Oh,
the
that's a
day.
good
You don't
point.
need a lot of energy or focus to do that.
Crazy. Yeah, no, fascinating topic. I found a video the other day that was two men that were racing, picking up bottles and putting them into a crate. Have you seen that one? And one goes back to the
Yeah.
back first and then the other one goes and does the short ones first and goes back. But it's a whole concept video about going to do the hard part first when
Yes.
your energy is higher so that when you're
Yes.
tired, you don't have to go as far in order to do
Exactly.
the
That's
work.
a great video and a perfect visualization of what we're
Fantastic.
talking about.
We'll have to post it in the show notes here so people understand what we're talking about here
Yeah,
in
for
our
sure.
short explanation. But I had a difficult experience the other day, funny enough, talking about wasting time and scrolling and doom scrolling. I feel like we all know what it's like jumping down a rabbit hole and getting so engaged on social media or YouTube or whatnot. For me specifically, the other night, it was YouTube. I was watching personal finance videos and learning because I like doing that stuff. And I got it so engaged in that where it got me down the algorithm of you like this as well too. I'm going to get you involved on these conspiracies and we're going to show you videos and content about this. It was midnight until 5 a.m. Al that I did this. And this is so unlike me in order to get caught up in something like that. But I was so engaged that it
Yep.
took me away from like my purpose and priority. And I wasn't even watching videos about the thing that I had initially sat down to watch videos about in order to learn, which was personal finance, which was crazy. So
Social media companies got it figured out, man.
they do, they do.
The
It's
more they
psycho
can keep you on the platform, the more money they make.
it's crazy, it's insane. So hey, if people want to get engaged with Al Ruttan, where do they find you online? And what is that like one punchy, energetic line you have in order to get people involved with your company?
Well, you know what? Okay, so alruttan.com, ALRUTTAN.com. And yeah, for sure, reach out to me. You can find me on social media as well. Here's my company mantra, my purpose statement as an organization. Yes, I want to make money. We all do, right? We're all in business for a reason. That's to make some money. But years ago, I went through a program and they said, I want you to find your purpose statement. And because of my faith, I discovered it in the amplified version of the Bible in Matthew 22:37-39. And it says, and Jesus replied to him, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. The second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Now, the cool thing in this version of the Amplified translation, in brackets, after it says, love your neighbor as yourself, it says, that is unselfishly seek the best or higher good for others.
Mhm.
Unselfishly seeking the best or higher good for others has become my business motto,
Wow.
mantra, how I want to operate. I figure if I can sow seed, I will get the harvest.
Hmm.
So for me, I would love to serve you. I would love to help you. Again, company culture and profitability of your organization are my priorities and my specialties, and they go hand in hand. Because if your employees are engaged and productive, guess what? They're going to treat your customers well. Guess what? You're going to have more bottom line profit. So that's how you can get a hold of me. My mantra, unselfishly seek the best or higher good for others. And when I see those light bulb moments go on when I'm working with people, that fires me up.
That gets you going. That's crazy. That's amazing. I love how we engage with that on a show. We incorporate the tradition of the Bible and the timeless principles that it teaches us with the life that we're looking to live by using servitude to help other people live the life that they want to live as well too. One that sits on my heart all the time is 1 Thessalonians 5:16 to 18, which is rejoice always, pray without ceasing, and give thanks in all circumstances. And
Yes.
when we can be grateful and we can pray and even find the beauty and the love in even the most difficult and challenging of circumstances, we are undefeated. And there's nothing that can deny our greatness and our success and the glory that God has for our lives, which is fantastic. Al, final word to you. What can you hit us off with in order to wind this up?
Well, Steve, I think you brought up a lot of great points today, this morning as well. And just that being intentional, right? Put down your phone, pay attention to your kids and your wife or your husband or whoever, your spouse. That's key. At the end of the day, they're in your corner, and spend that time with God every morning.
Incredible. Amazing. Well, with that being said, I'm going to go grab a cup of coffee, spend
Hmm.
some time with my wife and my child before I absolutely grind today so that I can spend the entire day with them tomorrow at church,
Perfect.
serving God's mission. Al, it was great
Perfect.
having you on the show. Thanks so much
Appreciate you, brother.
for engaging with our audience. We'll get this out in a couple weeks in early 2026 so that we can fire on all cylinders.
Amazing. Have a great day, my friend.
You too. Bye bye. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. I hope you found value in what we shared and that you'll take it with you to positively impact the world around you. If so, we'd love for you to take a moment to rate, review, and share the show because we're on a mission to grow and reach more hearts. Prayers, gratitude, and love. Until next time.